Over the years, there have been many odd-looking machines built for war. One of them is the A-10 Warthog. The A-10 Warthog is a fighter jet designed for the role of close air support. Close air support is where an aircraft helps and protects troops on the ground. Cheap to manufacture, the A-10 was built during the Cold War for a predicted attack from the Soviet Union. This attack never came, of course, but the A-10 was designed to mow down Soviet tanks. The reason it is so good at destroying tanks is because of its 7-barrel gun, which it is built around. I will talk about the roles of the A-10 in various wars and how it has played these roles. First, let's talk about the wars the A-10 has been in and what it has accomplished in those wars. Even though the A-10 was made during the Cold War, it was never used in it as the war never heated up. The first war it was actually used in was the 1991 Persian Gulf War. At first, the A-10 flew missions hunting the Iraqi Republican Guard, but stopped because of heavy anti-aircraft fire. After this, they flew missions hunting Scud missiles. Scud missiles were ballistic missiles made in the Cold War by the Soviets. The next war the A-10 participated in was the Afghanistan War in 2001. The A-10 actually did not play a role in invading Afghanistan, but was in the air campaign afterwards. An air campaign is basically an air strategy. In 2022, the A-10 took part in Operation Anaconda. This is where the CIA, working with allies, attempted to wipe out the Taliban. After this, the A-10 remained to try and destroy the remaining Taliban. The Iraq War started on March 20th, 2003. In this war, the A-10 had an 85% mission success rate. Some of these missions involved dumping propaganda leaflets into enemy territory. In 2014, some A-10s were deployed into the Middle East to fight the ISIS militant group. According to Mr. Hughes at Scarsdale High School, some A-10s along with gunships were used to destroy oil trucks. Because oil trucks were a big source of money for ISIS, they did this by first dropping leaflets to warn the driver to jump out because they probably did not belong to ISIS. Then, they would destroy the truck. Lastly, the A-10 was sometimes used to escort other planes. The A-10 has had many improvements to help it in war. When the A-10 was first created, it already had its giant tank-destroying gun and titanium armor. The A-10 also has a lot of room for missiles. One of these missiles is the Maverick. The Maverick missile is an air-to-surface missile. It is usually on the A-10 and can be guided using TV or infrared sensors. The Maverick also has a longer range than the gun, which means there is a less chance of anti-aircraft fire when using it. In the Gulf War, the Maverick's infrared was used as an alternative to night vision. The A-10 also has a self-sealing fuel tank. A self-sealing fuel tank works like this. It has 3 layers. The outermost layer is made out of fabric and shapes the rubber layers inside. The innermost layer is made out of treated rubber, as untreated rubber will swell when it comes into contact with fuel. The middle layer is made out of untreated rubber and is the self-sealing part. If a bullet makes a hole through all 3 layers, fuel will start leaking through the hole. When the fuel touches the untreated rubber, a chemical reaction will happen and the rubber will swell and fill the gap. Lastly, the A-10 has many different paint jobs. Here are some. The European woodland scheme has darker shades of gray and green to blend in with the forests of Europe. This was because the people who made it thought the threat from the air was greater than from the ground. The compass ghost scheme made it harder to see the plane from below. It has a lighter gray on top of the plane and a darker gray at the bottom of the plane. A smaller detail is the false canopy. A canopy is the see-through dome that covers a cockpit. A false canopy is a canopy painted on the underbelly of the plane just behind the gun. This confuses the enemy about the altitude of the plane and the direction of it. Many A-10s also feature nose art. Shark heads are most common, but there have also been warthog tusks too. But what really makes the A-10 stand out from other planes? Well, besides its odd looks, it has its GAU 30mm Gatling gun. This gun is one of the most powerful ever flown. It fires 3,900 depleted uranium bullets a minute. Also, the cockpit and other important parts are all covered in titanium armor. This armor has been through tests where a 23mm cannon shot at it. The A-10 also has good maneuverability at low speeds and can operate at low visibility. So, what is the future of the A-10? Well, it is uncertain because the Air Force has been trying to get rid of it for a while. They claim the A-10 cannot survive a modern war and have been trying to replace it with the F-35. So far, this has not worked because Congress likes the A-10. More recently, the Air Force has been trying out a new Super A-10. This Super A-10 is an A-10 with every single upgrade there is. Overall, the A-10 was created during the Cold War to stop Soviet tanks and was used in many wars after that. It was primarily designed for the role of close air support and uses its giant machine gun to destroy tanks. I hope you learned a lot about the A-10.